me. Let me pass these out. My name is Stephen. Do we all speak English? Everybody speak English here pretty well? You understand me? Okay. I can teach in French if you want. I speak in French and I speak Turkish. And I have been to 35 countries in my life. And I have taught in 15 countries. And it's always been a great experience. But I can say that probably my greatest teaching experience has been in China. You have a great education system. It's very different in some ways from my education system. But I find it interesting that in America, teachers want to practice Asian ideas in school. And in China, Chinese people want to send their kids to American schools. So Americans like your system, and you like our system. So that's kind of interesting. We both have a lot to learn from each other. And we have a lot. I can tell you that I learn a lot from watching our Chinese teachers in the international department. I will stand with Chinese teachers in China and say, you work too hard and you don't make enough money. It's the truth.
That's true.
You won't say it, but I will say it for you. You are the hardest working people I have ever met. So I bow to you. So seriously. And it helps if somebody can tell you that sometimes. And tell you that we see you as someone who's very hardworking. Does anyone have a Kleenex for the nose paper? It's so cold outside. Thank you. Maybe I reuse them all. I can do this if you want. Or I can do this and that way. Okay. Clean my nose. All right. Now, one of the things that Chinese people and Chinese schools and your government and your society is all for is harmony. You agree? What does it mean? What does harmony mean? Harmonious society. It's a big statement in China, right? A harmonious society. What's it mean to have a harmonious society?
I think
Okay.
it's in the state of a kind of balance.
A balance.
Between,
You're
yeah.
both right. So what you told me and what you told us is that when you want a harmonious situation, harmonious society, harmonious school, harmonious family, harmonious business, for me, this is a great goal. Maybe impossible, but I've lived in China for 2 years now, and I can say that China is pretty harmonious, but there are some dangers to that too. One is harmony means make me happy, I don't care if you're happy. Doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean I make you happy and I stay bad. Harmony means I try to make you happy and what?
In the meantime, I'm happy too.
Try to make me happy too. That works if everybody agrees. How do you do that in a classroom? Now it's easy to do that in a large group. People will hide their ideas. Now I watch Chinese citizens here, very hardworking people, and sometimes I watch how they're treated by their bosses, and I'm thinking, as an American, I wouldn't handle that. No way. Because in America, we talk. We don't go quiet. But I watch Chinese teachers, and they're just very quiet, very hardworking. But I'm sure, in your mind, you're not so quiet. Is it true or false? You have your opinions, right? You think, why do I have to get here at 7 o'clock every morning and leave at 10 o'clock every night? But at school, hi there, in your mind. So the danger of only seeking harmony is that this can stop in your students this. Critical thinking. What's it mean, critical thinking? What does it mean to be a critical thinker? Does it mean to be negative? The word critical is often thought to be a negative idea.
Both negative and positive.
Sort of. Critical thinking might say that our tradition says that we do it this way. But I think we should do it that way. You're not following. Is it okay not to follow? Maybe it's okay to be a little bit rebellious. Critical thinking is a little bit rebellious. It isn't negative. It's finding other ways of doing the same thing. Now, someone said the last 5 words of a school is, we have never done, we never did it this way before. We never did it this way before. Which means we always do it this way. Now let's try it that way. What do people think? Maybe people say, yeah. People say, oh no, we don't do it that way. But it's so important when we're teaching our students to teach them to be critical thinkers. You are living today in a society that is changing so fast. It's amazing watching China. Let me tell you, before I came to China, I had already been to Africa. I had already been to the Middle East many years. I have worked on 4 continents. But before I came to China, in our minds what we're taught was China and North Korea are the same. I came to China and I was so happily surprised at your country. It is so open. It's really so free. And I think now in your society, you're giving your children, and society is giving its teachers an opportunity to expand. We have an international program here because many of your children want to have that experience of going abroad and bringing back what they learned here. How are we going to face the children in China in the 21st century? There are many traditions, many of them will stay the same, but there will be new ideas coming out and new ways of teaching. And we want to explore these ideas a little bit together. Now I have one thing you can do for me, okay? If you don't understand my English, say, please slow down. We can just be informal, no formality, okay? We just all be a team. So, if you're speaking and I don't understand, I'll ask you. If you don't understand me, please say that again, okay? No problem for me. Let me pass. You're the oldest children I ever taught. What grade are you in? Are you all students today? I wish I could be a child again.
I hope so.
Yeah, me too.
Yes.
I am 55. I always say I'm 55, but I feel 25. And I act 16. All right. Let's go to this page right here with Mr. Einstein. We're going to kind of go through some of these things, and we're going to do some activities together. Some games that we can do in class that make students think. Sorry, my throat is a little bit... I'm going to drink your tea. Nice. Now, I hear we're going to do this again in January, right? I want to help all of us see some new ideas on how to teach, for example, grammar, writing structure, all kinds of ideas. And what I want you to do for me for next time, can you write a list of things as teachers that you think you need help with, so that I know I can prepare the best material for you to help you. So before we leave today, if you could just give me a handwritten list, 2 or 3 things that you really think I could help you with. And it's not going to be just me, it's going to be interactive. We're going to work together and talk and practice and try some new ideas and see how they go. But what I wanted to do on our very first time together is not just teach grammar or how to teach grammar or these things. I want to look at, first of all, the idea of what a teacher is. What is a teacher?
Teacher can give the students knowledge and teach them the ways to face the world and to the behaviors to do something in the world.
Okay, great. I agree totally.
Teach the students ideas, opinions about the society and other things.
It's true. Good explanation. You have nice English, that's for sure.
Thank you.
What do you think? What's a teacher for you?
Personally, I think the most important thing for a teacher is the ability to communicate, to truly communicate with the students, to know how they think, and make them want to tell you what's in their minds.
Oh, well said. Well said. Yeah, not always easy either.
That's
hard.
It's really, really difficult.
You're a mom, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's even worse with your own kids, right? I mean, think about it. I have 4 children and 7 grandchildren. I understand.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Plus, my wife is Chinese, and she has one. He's my stepson, so I have 5 kids. That's why I have no money. But in the classroom, how do you get a child to speak who doesn't, first of all, they don't want to wake up. They don't want to be there. They don't understand. The teacher doesn't want to wake up either. The teacher doesn't want to be there, wants to go to bed. But how do I get our kids to listen to us? What I wrote right here is that we have to create an emotionally safe classroom. What's that mean? Not physically safe. China is one of the safest countries physically I have ever lived in. I'm not a bit afraid to live in China. It's such a nice, clean, good country. You have some pollution problems. Other than that, I love it here. So we're not worried about our children physically. No one's going to hurt them, right? Emotionally. What do you think I mean by that? Emotionally. An emotionally safe classroom. Ideas? Anybody?
Their feelings cannot be hurt in the classroom.
That's true.
Teachers should protect them emotionally.
Does that mean we can't challenge them? If they make a mistake, we can't say stop?
No, if the students make some mistakes, we just say that's okay. You can try next time, and the class can make the students very happy, and they want to listen to the teacher, and the teachers can share their feelings with the students.
Okay.
That's emotional safe class.
I agree with you. So there's a balance, right? We can correct our students, but there's a way to correct them, and there's a bad way to correct them too. I know teachers from the old school. You know what that means, the old school? The old ideas. You know, when I walk into a classroom in China, in America I don't do this because there's pretty much almost equality between teacher and student. But let's face it, let's be honest. In China, in Turkey where I worked, in Africa where I worked, every other country I've ever worked in, the teacher is here and the student is there. And that's okay, I guess. But when I walk into my first day in the classroom, I tell my students, they're in high school, I would like to treat you as adults. I don't think you're children anymore. But to be treated as an adult means you have to act like an adult. Being treated as an adult is earned. It's not a gift. You want it, you work for it. You act like a child, I will treat you like a child. Then it puts the ball, we say in English, it puts it in their side. They have to do the action. They have to do the activity and act like the adult. And I have found great success with that. Let me tell you a story. my background in Wuhan, as a matter of fact. I started working, I started in Shenyang in 2012, and then I moved to Wuhan, which I love Wuhan. It's a beautiful city. It's very nice, and some are very hot and not too cold in the winter. And the schools are really good there too. I had a class in an international school there, and this class was a really nice group of students, and I had one student named Barry, Chinese boy, 16. Not a great student, but a good boy. He tried. But one day I said, Barry, you're not trying very hard today. And he said, I need you to wake up and try a little harder. And he and I were in really good friendship, good relationship in class. But he looked up at me and said, F you, to me. The minute I did this, he went, oh. You know what I did when he did that? I went, oh, just like you.
Unexpected.
I'm a teacher. You're a Chinese boy. You know in China you can't do that, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you can think it, but you can't do it. He looked at me, shocked. I said, you know what? You didn't F me. You F'd yourself. You're in trouble. I will talk to you later. I kept teaching. Because if you lose your patience, you lose the class. So I kept on teaching. Now, before I tell you what I did, tell me what would you do in that situation? How about you? Just brainstorm. Just say what you think. What would you do in that situation?
I will say nothing about it and ask him to go to my office and talk with him.
No, I think that's a great solution. Yeah. Would you do it immediately, or would you wait till later, or how would you do it?
Later.
Yeah. How about you? What would you do? Have an idea? It's okay. This is for fun. You don't have to worry. How about you?
I also agree with my friend.
Yeah, I think you're both right. I think you're both right. You know what I did in that situation? I kept on teaching. I went to my manager, and I told him the situation. They said, well, we're going to bring him in here. I said, no, you're not. I want to deal with it. Let me handle it. But I just want you to know. So I said, okay. And afternoon, I went to the canteen, and I bought 2 bottles of Pepsi. And I set him on a chair, and then I went to his room, and I said, Barry, I need to talk to you. His eyes, oh my God. You know, that's a pretty bad thing he did to me. If I did that to my father, he'd slap me right across the face. Wouldn't he? Wouldn't your father hit you if you said
Yes.
that? I mean, that's pretty bad. If you call your daddy a sloppy, what would you do? Of course, maybe slap you, right? So he thinks I'm angry. So I take him out, and I take him over to the chair, and I took 1 Pepsi and I gave it to him. And I had one, we opened them up, and we were talking. I said, Barry, why did you do that? You and I get along really well. Boy started crying. I don't know why I did that. Something bothered me and I just didn't think. So I said, from now on, if something's bothering you, you tell me and I'll give you a chance to work it out. Can we agree that that will never happen again? And we shook hands, and he was a perfect student for the rest of the year. Now, let's brainstorm on the other side. What if I had taken Barry and said, you're out of my class, I'm never going to teach you again, or you're out of my class for a week, or I'm reporting to the principal? I will win, of course. I can win every debate. I'm a good debater. I'm good with words. I know how to win. But sometimes, what if I have a debate with this boy, and I win, and he gets disciplined? In the end, did I really win? Because now he hates me. And for the rest of his life, he'll remember this teacher got him in trouble. But instead, the the boy loved me. And for the rest of his life, he'll remember some teachers can actually talk to you. See? So, I didn't help my ego. You know ego? It didn't make me feel powerful, but it made me feel good. What's the best way to become powerful? What is the best way to become powerful? Everybody wants power. Do you want power? You're married, right?
Yeah.
You're the boss. You're already powerful. Women are always the boss. Everybody knows that. My wife's the boss. Now, you want to be powerful? Everybody wants to be powerful. I mean, why did Barack Obama want to be president? Why did Xi Jinping want to be chairman? They want to help the country, but on the other side, it's like, I like the power. Right? What's the best way to become powerful? Experience? Who you know? Education? Money? In my opinion, the best way to become powerful, in my opinion, is to make is to make other people powerful. It is. Think about it. If you have a student and they're just so like this, give them a job to do. Give them an important task in the room. All of a sudden, this person just blossomed like a flower. When you make someone else powerful, it makes you powerful. Why? Because forever, they're going to look to you. You're their mentor, their hero. And it automatically transfers you as to a powerful person. And it also makes someone else powerful too. Power is to be shared. Even in the classroom, it should be shared. It should be given. And sometimes we are too tough, I think, with our students. It's just my view, my opinion. I wrote here, students have been shamed or belittled. Students have been shamed or belittled by the teacher or another student will not effectively engage in challenging tasks. Do you agree with that? What does that mean? What's the best way to get a student to participate? Make them feel
Confident.
confident. That's the word in my head too. Confident. Make them believe they can do it. I just took a statistics course. I am doing my PhD in international education. So I'm a full-time student and I'm a full-time teacher. And I'm married and I have 4 kids. And sometimes I even sleep. Sometimes. And I took a statistics class. I've got all A's and I cannot do math. I hate math. Math sucks. I hate it. My students can teach me math. But you know what? I got an A on it. You know how I did it? I had one person at the school who kept pushing. You can do this, student. Don't give up, student. Don't give up. You can. And I did it. That's what teachers are all about. No matter if you're 55 or 5. We all need encouragement, don't we? So why do you think that might be true? It says, consider having a rule such as, we do not put others down. Tell others to shut up or laugh at people. Now, I have noticed something in culture in China. And you guys did it this morning too. If I ask the whole classroom in China, who knows the answer to this? No hands. But everybody knows. They know. But if I say, who knows the answer to this? Do you know the answer to this? Yes. Do you know the answer to this? Yes. I realized about 10 years ago, if you ask a whole classroom of Asian people what's the answer, they all know the answer. Nobody wants to lose face. Nobody wants to take the risk of maybe, possibly being wrong. Right? How do you overcome that? Do I say, are you guys stupid or what? Some teachers would. Teachers like that need to find a different job. That's not how you motivate people. So I realized I just started calling out one by one and giving a lot of praise. And I tell my students at the beginning of every course, you have got to learn to laugh at yourself. Especially learning a foreign language. You're all English teachers, right? Nobody knows better than you. It's the hardest thing you will ever do in your life, is learn a foreign language. Do you agree? For some people, it's easier than others. It's pretty easy for me. I haven't studied Chinese yet because I don't have time to do it, but I studied French and I studied Turkish, and I speak them both. Some people learn easily, some people don't, but everybody can do it. But when you're studying a foreign language, there's one thing I can say 100% sure. You're going to make mistakes. It's just normal. And sometimes you're going to make crazy, stupid mistakes. It's normal because we're human. How do we get our kids over that where they'll actually start using the English language in conversation and in school? First of all, you tell them, number one, you're going to make mistakes. You're human. That computer never makes mistakes. But it doesn't get sick. It doesn't have arguments with boyfriends and girlfriends and friends or husbands and wives. And it doesn't have to wake up in the morning and say, I don't want to get up. It just automatically works. It doesn't have emotion. But people do. And I tell my students, you need to laugh at yourself. Mistakes are your friend. Mistakes, almost everything I've ever learned in my life has been through making mistakes. Those are the mistakes, those are the lessons that you never forget. Because they're tied to something maybe embarrass you. But a great learning tool. So I try to encourage my students at the very beginning of the course. You have to learn to talk. And if other people are laughing, they're laughing with you. They're not laughing against you or at you. See? This is all psychology. But I find that our students need that in order to keep a fresh mind all the time. So it says, what would you do if you had a student tell someone, shut up? How would you handle it? That's kind of scary, right? So, it says here, for students to learn, they must and grow, one must take risks. But most people will not take risks emotionally in unsafe environments. They have to be willing to take a chance. And if they do, it's really up to the teacher. It's all about atmosphere. You say, well, this isn't really teaching, this is psychology. How many years have you been a teacher? How many years are you teaching?
About 50 years.
Wow, long time. You?
10 years.
Yeah. So everybody here is a veteran. You know how to teach. You've been doing it a while. And I'm sure that you'll say that it's one of the most emotional things you can do. And sometimes we have students and we really feel close to them. Sometimes some students, you have a hard time getting close to them. But you have to treat them all the same way. And we have to be willing to teach them to be willing to make a mistake. And it's really up to the teacher to give that kind of approval. Now what we're going to do right now, we're going to watch two videos. Two videos. This one right here. Now, one second.
And there's a call.
This guy is a real jerk. This teacher. Tell me what you think of him. Watch me. That's a little bit long. There's some dead silence in it. But watch the whole thing. And then tell me, I want to see your reaction to how he handles a problem in his classroom. How many of you hate cell phones in the classroom? Do you allow your cell phone, the student's cell phone, to be in the classroom?
No.
They bring them anyway. They do all the time. What do you do if you see a student texting or on the internet? You take the cell phone? Possible, some do. Let's see how this man handles it. He's a good example of how not to be a teacher. Here we go.
Call for a second Continental Congress that meets in 1775. It was at the Second Continental Congress that an army was raised.
Be a good teacher.
They dispatched an expedition, or the Continental Congress Army dispatched an expedition to force Quebec into the Revolutionary Union.
Is he a good teacher?
So, I mean, it's bloody. There's a war, and it takes many years for this to kind of come to fruition.
Keep watching. I know it's a little boring, but keep watching.
All
You're gonna
right.
get a shock.
Thanks. Sorry.
Kid's got a cell phone. And it's in university. That's not high school.
I have a strict policy about texting. So,
How do you think the
let's
student
turn
feels?
to John Law.
Now, let me ask before we go on. What did he do in that student's life just now? What did he accomplish in that student's life? Oh, wow, he's right. I want to study better now. I want to be a better student because he broke my cell phone. Think so?
No.
Let's watch.
What page is that on?
He doesn't even know the page number. Great teacher. Watch the student now, the one in the back. He's like, what do I do? Oh my God.
The second
That's like
treatise
$300
on
$400.
John Locke, we mentioned him before, important for, as a philosopher, and we'll be talking about his epistemology at a later time, but here we're looking at his political theory.
What's he doing?
This treatise is published in 1690.
Wouldn't you? Would you stay?
No. I want you to.
Locke begins by talking about, well, what is the natural condition
I feel powerful.
of human beings? Who are human beings in their natural
Now,
state?
think about this.
What are human?
Actually, in my opinion, that teacher is very lucky. Because if he did that to me, he'd be in a hospital. I would hurt him. I would hit him. In the first place, I would never give him my cell phone. Can that happen in China?
Yeah, sometimes.
It happens in America too, as you see. So it doesn't mean this is a policy that's just in China. These humans are the same everywhere. I can say that because I know I've been to 35 countries. We have different cultures, different languages, different traditions, different ideas, different rights and wrongs. But in the end, we all want the same thing. We want a good life, we want a good job, we want a good education, a healthy family, nice kids. We want that. But, you know, this happens everywhere. Because some people who want to be teachers, it should not be. To me, he'd make a good police officer. Because he's fat and he likes to eat donuts. Does he seem like a teacher to you? Now, let's evaluate that teacher for a minute. I want to play it again. And instead of watching about the cell phone, tell me now, study the teacher's skill as he's teaching. And then give me some feedback on what you think about his style. Don't even think about the phone. See what you think. Let's go back here.
To call for a second Continental Congress that meets in 1775. It was at the Second Continental Congress that an army was raised. They dispatched an expedition, or the Continental Congress Army dispatched an expedition to force Quebec into the Revolutionary Union. So takes many years for this to kind of come to fruition. How old are you? Thanks, Steve. Sorry, I just need you.
Colin is stupid to give him the phone, in my opinion.
I have a strict policy about texting. So, let's turn to John Law.
Watch this, watch this.
What page is that on?
What page? He doesn't even know the page. And he wants the students to be responsible. But he's irresponsible. That's enough of that. I don't Let me just say, that would put me in a position. When I was in junior high, back in that time, they still used to hit us in America. At the bottom. Do you still do that in China? With a board? Did you ever do that in China? Yes, you did. I know every country has done it. But I was like 16 years old, you know, and I was bigger than my teacher. And so the teacher said, go out, Stevie. He brings out this piece of wood. He said, bend over. I said, no. I said, I was wrong, and I'm sorry. I'm going to let you hit me. But if you hit me, when you're done hitting me, I'm going to take that piece of wood away from you, and I'm going to hit you. And I'm going to hit you twice as hard as you hit me. Now, if you want to go ahead, go ahead. He didn't. Now, I won that battle. But is it right to push a student to the point where they want to hit the teacher? Is it right to push a student to the point where they will no longer think about learning, they're going to be thinking only about their cell phone? I think it's perfectly fine to take the cell phone. In high school, in university, that's impossible. They did it. And that's real. That's a real situation. That's not fake. So, would this situation create an emotionally safe classroom? It would do the opposite. It'd make people want to hurt someone. It causes aggression. There are two words in the English language. One is aggressive. You know that word, of course. All right? And the other one is assertive. What does that mean? Aggressive and assertive. It's supposed to be two S's. Aggressive and assertive. What's the difference? Who knows what assertive means? Anyone tell me? What does assertive mean? Okay, aggressive, what does it mean? To be aggressive. To be tough. This teacher we just watched was aggressive. Very tough, let's face it. You know, even I'm a teacher teaching teachers this morning, but for 2 hours, I own you. You're mine. I can teach you the way I want. You would like it or not like it. It's up to you. But as a teacher, when you're in the classroom, you are the president of that class. You're in charge. Right? How do you handle your power? A lot of teachers do like this guy, and they're aggressive, negative, powerful, and they make the students hate the teacher instead of respecting the teacher. Assertive is different. And now I'm going to show you another video of good teachers and students' opinions of teachers that they enjoy. I like to say assertive and aggressive mean the same thing. But this is negative, and this is positive. Which one do you want to be? Which one are you? Yeah. I'm pretty tough in my class. I make my students. No students can sleep in my class. I wake them up. But I don't say, wake up, you lazy. I'll go around the class and I'll check on my students. I'll walk around, and when I get to the students who's sleeping, I just say, time to wake up. Now, why do I do that? If it takes 3 times, it's different, okay? That's the first time. I don't want to embarrass them. Some students don't know they're falling asleep. Have you ever fallen asleep and don't know it? I have, almost, as a teacher before. We get tired. So I give them 2 chances. The 3rd time I embarrass them. So I am an assertive teacher. I'm tough, I'm strong. I know how my students must behave in class, but I give them grace. When they make a mistake, I try to teach them how to forgive. Try to teach them how to forgive themselves. And try to teach them to go on and forget. Then you're creating well-minded, balanced students, adults in the future, right? So, what about this one? Let's look at this video. We're going to play a game next hour. You'll like it. It's fun. Okay, in this video, and I'm going to let it play, and then we'll take a break, okay? And we'll discuss it after the break. But this video is, the question is, what is a teacher? What do teachers accomplish? And they're giving people's opinion. Just watch the video, and then we'll talk about it together. Pretty interesting stuff.
Interactive.
Nice.
Caring.
Dedicated.
Enthusiastic, definitely.
Talented.
Concerned.
Respectful.
Likable and personable.
Amazing. Well, good teachers are helpful. Great.
Alright, when Chacha is coming up with a story,
I teach because I really believe education is the only way that people will have a chance in life.
It's an incredibly rewarding profession.
I think teachers are mostly altruists. So, I mean, I think at the base, that's why I teach, is just to make the world a better place.
I do a lot of
Altruist. Altruism. Altruist is someone who only likes to do good in the world and help people. Is that true about teachers? I don't think there's any other profession or job in the world that does as much for as little money as we do it. Because it's not about money. Let's face it, if you were looking only for money, you would not be a teacher. Right? There are a lot of jobs, even in China, that pay a lot better. But you wouldn't like the job, because this is who you are. You're here as a servant to give. And that's what he's saying. Teachers are altruistic, which means people who only want to do good for others. We're not all so godly, but many of us are.
cooperative learning in my classroom, and I want all the kids to be able to work with anyone in the room to do any project.
Go to Sunday night, I'm so excited for Monday morning.
I enjoy seeing the students have those light bulbs go off, and it happens every day.
It's an American classroom.
Evans. My favorite teacher so far is Wu Lao-Shi.
Mr. Eugene.
Perry Lorenzo.
Easy. Phil Blix.
One was a woman named Dr. Hennessy.
Yeah, an English teacher called Miss Bailey.
When Miss Bailey would come in every morning like, hello, good morning, like really excited.
Well, we learned really cool math. She made me excited about computers, about every website you can go, like internet.
I'll never forget that he said one day to me, and it was a pretty chaotic class, and he said, Kyle, you're gonna be somebody. So
He really stressed like what we thought.
She gives us time, and I so far finished a lot of books.
Like on Fridays, if we did really well, Fridays or Thursdays, we would get a party.
I think
good teacher is one that can connect with their students and find something in common with them.
Being funny always helps.
Definitely keep a positive attitude.
Be nice and don't scream.
Teachers have to show passion.
I don't do things in here that are easy. Everything we do should be hard.
Not only lecturing, but also like answering.
If that child comes to the classroom believing that he is capable, you have a lot to work with.
If your teacher has faith in you, I think you feel a lot better about like your chances. Be able to engage the students.
Giving you cool things to do.
Learn from the students.
Who are these kids?
See what the students have to say.
What do they really need?
And what they have to say about my teaching.
You have that experience of somebody who opens up your world and opens up your mind.
Learn who that individual is, what their strengths and weaknesses are.
I believe that they are capable, all of them, of greatness.
Find out what they can bring to the world and really help them develop their potential that way.
They helped me to like reading more. Probably. I didn't read that much in preschool, but that was a long time ago.
A long time ago. Okay. So, what do you think of their etiquette? That one woman said, "We don't do anything easy in our classroom. Everything we do is hard because that's what we learn. Learning is tough, so it takes a teacher to motivate the students." So when you watch that video, compared to the first video, how are these teachers you saw different from that first one? What do you think?
I think as a teacher, I think what they say are right. I agree with them. I think as a teacher we should respect teachers. A good teacher should respect is most important thing, I think.
Yeah. And you know, my father always told me, "Stephen, one day you want to grow up and become a respected man." But he said respect is not automatic. It has to be earned. Students have to earn it, and we have to earn it too. Right? You agree? It's very important. Let me tell you, we'll take a break in a second. I'm going to tell you one story from my life. When I was in high school, I was a terrible boy. I've always been pretty smart, but I've always been not lazy, but yeah, lazy. And in high school I was very lazy. I was doing drugs. I was smoking marijuana. I was getting drunk, and I was laying with girlfriends. I mean, that's just, I was a bad boy. That's American lifestyle. So one day, I had to take this class called World History. I hated history. I hated it. And I got in this classroom, and it was with Mr. Simmons, the toughest teacher in the whole school. Nobody hated him. He wasn't a mean guy, but he was just tough. And everybody was afraid to take his class. But I had to take it. So he gave us a book report to do. So I had to read this book, which I didn't read it. I didn't even watch the movie. I just wrote down a paragraph. And my handwriting was so terrible. So I gave it down. I didn't care. I really, truly, at that time in my life, I did not care. And so after he graded it, he was going around the classroom, handing it back to everybody, right? So he gave everybody their paper, put it on their desk, put it on their desk, on their desk. He comes to my desk, and he holds my paper up in the air. Everybody could see it. "Here, Mr. Bradley, here is your D-." He said, "I would have given you an F, but you did something." A D-. I wanted to kill him. Everybody's laughing at me. Sounds terrible teacher, right? So then he goes back to his desk, and he sits down. Everybody's laughing, and he goes, and he says, "Why are you laughing at Mr. Bradley? I gave you a U, and you, B, and a C because that's the best you can do. Mr. Bradley can get an A, but he doesn't care. But if he wants to, he can get an A in any class because he's very smart. I just want him to care." Mr. Bradley looked right at me. Guess what I got after that? All A's in every class. I stopped smoking marijuana. I stopped drinking. I stopped hanging out and made new friends. And today I'm doing my PhD because of Mr. Simmons. He's 98 years old and he's still alive today. 98! I saw him last summer. I was in America. And he changed my life. That teacher, with one event, changed my life. Now, he had two choices that day. He could have just given my paper like that and left me angry. But he chose to challenge me. He saw something in me that even I didn't see in me. Certainly the other students didn't see it in me, but he saw it. And that gives you an idea of just how important you are. That I'm sure if you take a second and think in your memory, you can think of something a teacher did that hurt you and made you never want to study again. Or you can think of something that a teacher did that encouraged you and made you love going to their classes and made you want to be a teacher. Can you do that? I bet you can. I can. I just gave you one of my stories. It's very important to know that we are a great effect on people's lives. Barry, at my former school, will never forget me, I know, because I showed him a little bit of love and understanding. So it's very important. You want me to take a 5-minute break? Stand up, and we'll come back, and we'll play a game, a couple games. I hope you enjoy it. Let's hope it's good. We're gonna play a group game.